Let's jump straight into business matters, where the Vice Presidents of Sudan and South Sudan have pledged to resolve the conflict over Juba's alleged support for rebels, which has repeatedly threatened cross-border oil flows. South Sudan's Riek Machar and Sudan's Ali Osman Taha say both their governments want to implement a raft of deals allowing southern oil exports to pass through Sudan and to secure the disputed border. The two say they're happy the outcome of talks that took 2 days, adding that they will resolve any outstanding problems that may arise without the need of a mediator. Last month, bilateral ties hit a new low when Sudan said it would potentially cut South Sudanese oil exports unless Juba ended support for rebels operating across their common border. Those are claims, however, which South Sudan denies. The US President Barack Obama says his country isn't threatened by China as far as trade with Africa is concerned. Speaking in South Africa over the weekend, Barack Obama admitted that the relationship between African economies and the United States isn't as strong as it should be. But he added that this visit to the region aims to improve that. CCTV's Sumitra Naidu reports.
About 20 years ago, almost everything that we bought had a label that said Made in America. Well, today it's really hard to find everyday goods that are made in the United States. In fact, it's really hard to find a label that doesn't say Made in China, especially on truly American goods like the apple. China's investment in Africa is estimated to be around $200 billion. U.S. trade with Africa is said to be half of that. But U.S. President Barack Obama told local media in South Africa that he's not worried about China overtaking the U.S. in terms of trade and investment in Africa.
I actually welcome the attention that Africa is receiving from countries like China and Brazil and India and Turkey. Because, number one, the more interest they show in Africa, the more tools we have and mechanisms we have to further incorporate Africa into the global economy.
Obama did raise his concerns, though, about the type of trade and investment happening in Africa. He said it was important to ask how Africa was benefiting from this investment.
I think what he tried to say is that if America invests into a continent or into a region, is that it comes with a lot of respect for democracy and moral issues and compliance. They will get involved into skills transfers and those kind of things, because I think it's important. You know, after the event, after they invested, after they've developed a project or built a road or whatever, you know, if they leave, whoever it is, I think it's imperative that they leave behind a legacy. And I think that will stimulate and that will grow Africa going forward.
The African Growth and Opportunity Act that was put in place back in 2000 is extremely beneficial to African trade. African exports to the United States have grown significantly in the past decade. Obama said the act, which expires in 2015, must be extended and strengthened.
It is obviously very clear that everybody wants to grow the market in Africa, and the way to do that is by ensuring that your contribution in the continent grows the market, makes people wealthier, and in turn creates markets for your own products that then you'll be able to sell. So very clearly a policy of benefication about ensuring that new economic investment raises all boats or gets spread in an economy where people become richer is clearly not just a good social policy, but it's the absolute answer for an economic policy.
The U.S. may have dropped its guard in recent years in respect of trade and investment in Africa, but it's not lost to the region. With Europe still struggling to leave behind the recession and strained relations with China, it would make business sense for the U.S. to up its game in Africa, a region that's offering new growth potential. Sumitra Naidu, CCTV, Johannesburg.
Now, just before we jump into the sport, is a quick run through the markets. Some fairly surprising numbers, really. Lots of red across the board, except for North Africa. Let's start in Nigeria, however, with the oil share index down by just about 9/10. Pretty much the same story, really, in South Africa. The oil share index at the JSE down by just under a third. The 20-share index in Nairobi in the red by 4/10. And finally, the Egyptian market on the day up 3.4%. The chaos we've seen in that country so far, notwithstanding. Interesting developments over there in the market reaction. We'll be keeping tabs on that in a subsequent bulletin.